Greetings, ladies and gentlemen. Mr. Royster here, and I want to talk to you about our next project and my strange family. So I want to talk about the next project. Inspired by the Day of the Dead. We talked about this. We talked about dios de los muertos, and we talked about give you a chance to vote, actually, and you voted on this project. So I'm going to get you started on it. And get started on the investigation phase. There's Oreo. Hi, Oreo. That's Oreo. So here's the GQ for the next project. Using the cycle of design as a framework, what steps will you need to take to create a life-size tape sculpture that honors the spirit and contributions of a deceased public figure? So that's the GQ. Now remember, we're making a Day of the Dead sculpture, okay? And so what we're going to use as our inspiration is a public figure, somebody that has been inspirational, somebody that has made a significant contribution to our community, our society, as our inspiration, okay? And they're actually going to be the subject of our sculpture. So the investigation phase, I want to get you started on the investigation phase and tell you the steps for that. You're going to get started on that, and then we'll continue to work through this together as a group, as a class. Imagine that. All right. So for starters, you need to investigate the celebration of Del Dios de los Muertos. Okay? So you're going to need to do some research on that and take some Cornell notes on that. What is it? Where did it come from? Where did it start? How does it work? How do they celebrate it? What's the heart of the actual celebration itself? Second, how do you create a life-sized packing tape sculpture? And what do they look like? You're going to need to actually come up with the steps. How do you do it? How do you create that? What is the actual steps necessary? How do you create a sculpture that makes it possible for you to actually create a head as well without suffocating someone or yourself? What are those necessary precautions that you're going to have to take? Okay, so you need to find that out. How do you do that? You also need to do some research on some artists that have that work in packing tape. You know, what are some sculptures that you can find? There's some pretty cool artists out there. Get some images that you can glue into your art book that come from that particular artist. So you can get some ideas from that. Fourth, what three classmates are going to be your partners? You need to have a team of three. Okay, at least 3 or 4, preferably 3. So who are going to be on your team? What 3 classmates are you going to consider to be your team, including yourself? Number 5. What are a list of past public figures that have made a positive contribution in the world that we live in? You're going to want to list a few of them, say 5 public figures that you can think of. We have to, everybody's got to do a different public figure. So I would be creative on that. Be unique on that. What's a list of public figures that you can think of that have had a positive impact on the world that we live in? Next, what unique characteristics can you find about that public figure? What makes them unique? And what characteristics can you incorporate into your sculpture that's going to help the viewer identify that figure? You can't just have this figure of a body without having some sort of unique characteristics related to that makes it possible for us to identify not only who the figure is, but what their contribution was. Next, you need to decide upon who that figure is going to be that you're going to memorialize. Okay? You've got your list, you've got your ideas of characteristics. Now, who's the figure going to be? Last, you're going to need to, once you've decided who the figure is, you're going to need to find some pictures. You're going to need to find some images of that figure, the poses. You need to find information about them, their life story, and the contributions that they made, because along with the sculpture, you're going to have a bio written about that particular person of inspiration. Okay? So then, once you've got all that information figured out, and I've approved it, then you're going to have to come up with the steps for the planning phase. You need to investigate that planning phase, and then you need to write those out, and then you need to investigate the creation phase. So what's the difference between the planning phase and the creation phase? What steps are you going to have to take to create this in order for us to be able to have it to show? The plan is to show this at the Vista Unified School District Art Festival coming up on October 19th. Okay? That's it. We'll see you in class. Carry on.